Live. Oh, hello. We are live. Welcome to everybody. Let me know if you can hear me. That's going to be the first thing. I want to make sure that you can hear everything that I'm saying. And then I wanted to make sure I have everything loaded up. We have a lot of things to go over today, you guys. So many things. So many things. Okay. I've got my notes. I've got my phone. So many things to share with you. Let me know if my audio is good, and we'll be good. I also wanted to take a moment to thank ButcherBox for sponsoring today's live stream. Jen just said that she just purchased her first ButcherBox. That's awesome. ButcherBox is a premium meat subscription delivery service that is dedicated to delivering high-quality grass-fed, grass-finished beef, organic chicken, pork-raised crate-free, and wild-caught seafood straight to your front door. They prioritize ethical sourcing and sustainability with the convenience of free shipping with every order. You can build a custom box with over 25 cuts to choose from, or you can let ButcherBox curate a box for you. They have an amazing deal going on right now. You can do free ribeyes for a year, free chicken breast for a year, or free filet mignons for a year with every single box you order. So you can head to the link in the description and you can get one of those offers. Thanks again to ButcherBox for sponsoring today's live stream. All right. Looks like everybody can hear me. That is wonderful. Hello. So glad to see you all. I love doing these live streams. I love that I've been able to have time to do them again after finishing the book. I wanted to go over a few things before we go into the questions and the big wins and all that kind of stuff. So if you have a question, please leave them in the chat box. And when I'm done with all the housekeeping stuff, I will get to them. I will stay on as long as I can to answer all of your questions. We also have some questions from a post that I did over on YouTube. So I want to make sure that I address these 7 questions as well, because these people were, I think, not able to make today's live stream. So I want to make sure. Okay, so some things that are coming up. The very first thing I wanted to talk about is the Symposium for Metabolic Health in Boca Raton, Florida. This is happening the 24th through the 26th of this month. So not this weekend, but next weekend. It's going to be awesome. Lots of great speakers, Dr. Siwas, Dr. Boz, Dominic D'Agostino, Dr. Ben. We have, Dr. Westman, Dr. Ovadia. And the whole first day is a women's health focus using ketogenic interventions to address women's health. So that's going to be really interesting. You can still get tickets to this. And the price of your ticket includes 2 low-carb dinners. They have carnivore options as well. I went to this last year. It was delicious. It's so much fun. And you learn a lot. The cool thing about this conference, it's open to the public, but it's really kind of like high-level research and studies and things like that, clinical practice case studies and things like that. But you can ask questions of all of these people that you watch here on YouTube all the time, and you can pick their brains afterwards. So it's really, really, really fun, and I'm looking forward to that one. So if you want to go, there's a link in the description where you can get tickets still. The next cool thing that's coming up is the Collaborative Science Conference. This is in Las Vegas from February 8th to February 9th. This is Dave Feldman's conference. This conference is incredible. I went to the very first one last year, and it was so good. And actually, this year, I am speaking at this conference. This is going to be the very first time that I speak at a conference. My speech is called When Carnivore Isn't Enough, Overcoming Stubborn Insulin Resistance. I am speaking at 10:30 in the morning on February 8th. So I'm one of the first speakers. Pretty excited about it. In the description, you will find a link to COSI. And the cool thing about this conference is it's a fundraiser for Dave Feldman and team's lean mass hyperresponder study. So your ticket price is a donation. You can go to this entire conference for as low as $25 for the entire weekend. But at each price increase, like I think there's a $500 ticket, $250, $100, you get more benefits. So if you do the $500 ticket, you get to go to a private dinner at Fogo de Chao with a bunch of the speakers. This was really fun. I did this last year. This is actually the ticket that I got for myself this year. And all of the speakers also, they pay for their own airfare, hotels, the ticket to the event, they pay for this because all of this money, less the credit card processing fees, all of that money is going straight into funding the second lean mass hyperresponder study. So it's going to be really awesome. That's Boca. Really great speakers. We got Dr. Ken Berry, Nina Teschultz is going to be speaking, Dominic D'Agostino again, Westman again, Brett Shear, Amber O'Hearn is going to be there. It's going to be so much fun. So if you want to go, Las Vegas, February 8th to the 9th, 2025. Information in the description. Okay. This past weekend, I went to a Chicagoland meetup. It was so fun. This was for Healing Humanity, Carrie Mann's documentary that he is filming. He's from Homestead How. I was able to finally meet Dr. Lisa Wiedemann in person. I have not met her yet. I love my face in this. This is ridiculous. And then the wonderful Karen Miles in the leopard print here. She's amazing. She's one of the biggest organizers of the Chicagoland meetups. So you need to follow her on Instagram if you are in the Chicagoland area and you want to go to some of these meetups. Also, Dr. Kiltz. And this is me and my husband and Dr. Kiltz. I was just on Kiltz's show a week ago. It was so much fun. He's amazing. And then also a few other carnivore creators. This is Brett and this is Jeff. And we had so much fun. Everything, all of the ticket prices for that meetup, that was all a benefit for the Healing Humanity documentary that Carrie Mann is filming. This documentary is pretty amazing. They showed us a few minutes of it, and it's really going to change the landscape when it's released. So definitely head over to Homestead How Instagram page, and you will get more information of the meetups and the different things they're doing. They're almost done filming it. But yeah, it's been really good so far. So that was fun. That was this past Saturday. And then I finally finished my 14-day sardine fast. I did some before blood work and DEXA scans. And then on Friday, we got the after DEXA. And today is Tuesday, right? Yesterday, we went and got blood work. So I did an updated omega check. I did a few other tests. And then I went and picked up my arsenic test. So this is a 24-hour urine test for arsenic. So you have to collect all your pee and pour it into this 3-liter jug here, and then bring that back to the lab. This is a Quest diagnostic test. And then they will pour out a little sample and test it for arsenic. I've gotten a lot of questions from my audience about if eating a lot of sardines will increase your arsenic. So we're going to test it and we're going to find out, and it's going to be so much fun. So as soon as I get all the results back from that, I'll be filming that video. That video is set to be released in February. Rock and roll. Last little update I wanted to talk about is the January Carnivore Challenge. We're doing this over at the Jenny Mitich Carnivore Community on Circle, but we're all doing it here on YouTube too. So we've got a weigh-in tomorrow. It'll be the second weigh-in. Optional, of course. But for me, my goal for the month of January was to strength train at least 3 days per week. I wanted to get back to 4 days a week of walking. And I wanted to get my weight down to 145, at least hit it at least once. And I'm well on my way. I've already done 3 strength training workouts for this week, and I've walked 3 times. So I'm doing really well with that. Everybody in the group is doing their posts and updates in the Circle group. So if you would like some Carnivore Community, you can head to the link in the description and check it out and see if it's right for you. Because we have a lot of fun over there. So much fun. Okay, I'm now ready to get over to the questions. If you have any questions, any concerns, any big wins on carnivore, leave them in the comment section and I will share them with everybody. I am going to start with Katie. When you crave fruit, what do you do? Well, I mean, I would treat that just like any other sugary item. I actually just released a complete video on dealing with sugar cravings when on carnivore. It's less than 8 minutes long. Check that video out. There's tons of things you can do. You can increase hydration, increase your salt consumption. Make sure you are eating enough carnivore foods at every meal. If it's really bad, you can just eat a carnivore snack. I'm not really a big fan of snacking, but in the beginning of carnivore, just do it. You can have some hard-boiled eggs, beef jerky, some leftover meat, some lunch meat, something like that. Just something to, try to get that craving out of the way. There's a lot of other, you can eat some fat. A fruit craving is just a sugar craving. Your body recognizes it the same as it does any other sugar. Watch that video. It's really good. And if anybody in the comments, if you have a really good way that you deal with a sugar craving, leave it for Katie so that we can help her. Jonathan, hello, new carnivore person here from Kansas. Welcome. Good to see you. Georgia, started carnivore on January 9th, and already my glucose is under 100 in the AM. Spent $387 on Jardiance. Can't wait to be off of all type 2 diabetes meds. Wow, that's a big win. That's amazing. Type 2 diabetes in most cases is curable. You can go into remission from type 2. It's mostly a disease of lifestyle. So great work, Georgia. That's amazing. And hopefully over time, you will be able to save that money every single month and spend it on meat and ribeyes instead. That would be lovely. Terry, hello. I'm 13 months carnivore and still learning. Cheers from Australia. Hello, Terry. Yes, I feel like we're all still learning. That's one of the beautiful things about life. You can constantly be learning new things. I'm learning new things every single day from you guys, from the books that I read and just, videos I watch and just living life. I think the day you stop learning is the day you die, right? Right. All right. Target prime rib. Hello, Jenny. It is my first time here with you, but I've been watching everyone for over a year. Thank you. Welcome. I'm glad that you were able to catch the live stream. I do live streams at interesting times because my kids are sleeping. And if they're out here, they'll just touch everything, then break it. So I have to do it at interesting times in the afternoon. Occasionally, though, I'll do live streams in the evenings. I'm contemplating doing a nightly live stream like I like to do anytime I'm at a conference. I'm thinking about doing that at the Symposium for Metabolic Health so we can kind of do a recap of each day and answer questions. I think that would be really fun. But thank you. I'm glad that you were able to join us today. Emily, what was the first conference called? Let's get that back up on the screen for you. This is the Symposium for Metabolic Health. This is hosted by Low Carb USA in collaboration with the Society of Metabolic Health Practitioners. This is a low carb ketogenic conference. So this one is in Boca and 24th through the 26th of this month. I have a link in the description where you can get tickets. It is open to the public. And this is the third time that I've gone to this. They do these twice a year. So they have them in Boca Raton in January, and then they have one in San Diego in August. And there's going to be different experts at each of them, but it's really, really fun. I love these conferences. My brain hurts afterwards, not hurts, but I'm just like so tired by the end of the day because there's just back to back to back speakers and you learn so much. It's also really good for networking and just really good for learning. So yes, if you would like to go to that conference, there you can still buy tickets. You can also buy a live stream ticket. So if you're unable to make it to Boca, you can pay, I think it's $100 and get access to all the live streams. And the cool thing about that is you can ask questions from the live stream and they will have the person answer the questions for you. That's the cool thing. You have time after each speech to ask questions. So you're really going to really like that conference. Oh, snap. Hey, Carrie. Nice meeting you on Saturday, Jenny. Thanks for your support. Looking forward to your book. Thank you so much, Carrie. It was nice to finally meet you in person, too. I'm going to be emailing you because I'd really like to have you on my channel and talk about your documentary because it's incredible. Anybody that's watching right now, if you're not following Homestead How, you need to hear his story. Carrie and his wonderful family are doing carnivore together, and it has changed their lives. And the documentary is going to be so good. So be sure to give them a follow. Alan, can you do carnivore on mostly ground beef? Heck yeah, you can. you can definitely do that. I think beef is probably one of the best meats you can eat on carnivore. Any ruminant meat, really. Ruminant just means that the animal has a 4-chambered stomach. It's just a little bit cleaner meat. They're able to, process out some of the stuff that they're fed if you're eating, conventionally raised meat like so many of us are. And very nutrient dense, very nutrient dense. So yes, you could eat ground beef every day for the rest of your life and you'd be fine. Yeah, for me, 90% of the time, I'm eating beef, butter, bacon, and eggs. Today I had 3 eggs and 4 slices of bacon. And then I'm going to have a big ribeye for dinner. It's going to be delightful. Super exciting. Attila the honey. Jenny, I seem to do well with weight loss at the outset. Then I hit a plateau that lasts to the point where I give up. Anyone else hit this wall? Yes, me. Hello. I have hit this wall many, many, many times. So there's so much that goes into weight loss. And I think we all have an idea of like the number that we want to see on the scale, or like when are we going to be satisfied with how we look? And maybe our body doesn't necessarily agree with us on that number. You know what I mean? Like I would like to be 130 pounds, but my body right now feels very comfortable at 148 to 152. The entire year for 2024, I was basically in the mid 150s, despite everything I tried. And I finally was able to break into the 140s by incorporating some fasting. But it's still, I'm in the lower, the like higher 140s to low 150s. And it's starting to inch down, but we'll see what happens. If you watch Kelly Hogan, she has been carnivore for I think 15 or 16 years. And she's had these fits and starts. You can be on a carnivore diet and still hit weight loss stalls and plateaus. It's totally normal. And what she would do during these, like sometimes she would hit a certain weight and then stay that weight for like 2 years. And then all of a sudden it would drop again. It happens to everybody. It's normal. It's evolutionarily appropriate. And I think instead of focusing maybe on the weight, focusing on how you feel mentally and physically, other wins, how any metabolic health conditions that are improving, how your clothing is fitting. Measurements are really important to take because sometimes you're losing inches before you're losing pounds. I also really love DEXA scans. I love them because sometimes when you're not losing weight, what's actually happening is you're gaining muscle and losing fat. So your body composition is changing and muscle weighs more than fat. So you may be like the same weight on the scale, but your body composition is changing and your overall metabolic health is still improving. And the only way to really know that is if you're doing DEXAs. So that's why I'm a big proponent of the DEXA scan. But consistency, that's what I have learned from all of these people that have been on carnivore for a very, very long time is you're going to run into these plateaus, stay consistent, tweak things, try little experiments, cutting things out or adding things in, work on your stress and sleep, and eventually it will continue. It will continue to come off. I love you and I love carnivore. I love you too. I also love carnivore. Thank you. All right. Jonathan, not sure if it's you or me, but about every 3 or 4 minutes, YouTube ads are popping up, interrupting what you're talking about. So that is YouTube. That is not me. I have no control over that, but I can look on the back end and see if there's any way we can adjust that. Thank you for letting me know, Jonathan. I appreciate that. Freebound, Ketovore has helped control my undiagnosed chronic pain. That's amazing. That's amazing because so many people that deal with chronic pain are just told, oh, that's just your life now, and then given a bunch of opioid medications to deal with it, which then create a bunch of other issues. So that's wonderful. I'm really, really glad that you shared that because somebody out there needs to hear that. All right, Sprinter Life Nomads. I'm 8 months carnivore and my blood work is still off in the area of glucose and A1C, top of the normal range. I'm very clean carnivore, still runs high. Ideas? Yeah, lots of ideas. So let's talk about the A1C first, because that's low hanging fruit. I had a similar thing happening with me. I was between 5.2 and 5.7 A1C on carnivore, even though my glucose runs in the mid 80s most of the time. I track with a continuous glucose monitor, and I also calibrate it with a finger stick. So it's pretty accurate. The theory that I've heard bounced around out there by a lot of other carnivore experts is that when you're on a carnivore diet, your red blood cells are living longer, thus allowing more time for glucose molecules to attach to the red blood cell, which then raises your A1C, even though it's not, your glucose isn't as high. But in your case, you're saying that your glucose is running a little bit high. So for the A1C and for the glucose, a really easy way that you can do this to take care of it is just incorporate a berberine. I take a berberine every single day, and it's actually lowered my A1C from a 5 point, where was I at? A 5.5. The last time I got blood work was the 19th of December. It was a 5.1. And I just got blood work yesterday. So we'll see if it keeps going down. It's been effective. It's been really effective. There's no harm in taking a berberine. Another thing, exercise is a really, really, really great way to clear glucose. Whenever I have slightly elevated glucose from a cheat meal or something like that, I go on a walk, a really brisk walk, and my glucose goes down into the 80s quickly, burns that off. The more muscle you have, the more glucose you can store and burn. So that's a help. I would be really interested for you to do a DEXA scan to see how much visceral fat you have. So you may have some lingering insulin resistance. And in that case, incorporating some fasting could be really helpful to help lower your fasting insulin. I would say I'd want to know a fasting insulin for you. You want that to be between 2 and 6. If it's in the teens or higher, there's some lingering insulin resistance. I'd also want to see visceral fat. How much visceral fat do you have? If you have more than 1.5 pounds, you could have some lingering insulin resistance that needs to be improved. That could be a reason why the glucose is higher too. That's what I can think of. Chrissy, I can't wait for this documentary. Yes. Carrie's documentary, it's going to be so good. I've seen a couple of clips. On Saturday, he showed a really good clip, a long section of it. And then at Hack Your Health showed another section. It's going to be so good. I really can't wait. I really can't wait for it to come out. Target prime rib. That would be great to see both you and Carrie together on either channel. Yeah, that'd be so much fun. I really want to pick his brain about a couple of things, and I really want to hear more about some of these people that he's interviewed. He has done some really powerful interviews with people that have used carnivore to just completely change their lives. Completely change their lives. Christine, is it normal not to urinate very much when eating very low carb? When I was vegan, I used to pee so much. Now just a few times a day. And yes, I drink lots of water. Yeah, I think so. You know, when in the beginning of carnivore, it's very normal to pee a lot because when you are not eating carbs anymore, your body releases all of that excess water and it comes out. But once you're used to it, which you've been carnivore for a while now, yeah, I think that's totally fine. As long as the, urine is not super dark in color and, it's like straw colored. So you're making sure you're getting enough hydration and everything is good. Yeah. I think that could be totally normal. I pee all the time. Like I told you guys, I'm doing that arsenic test for my 14-day sardine fast. And I have a 3-liter bottle here to collect all my urine. The last time I did one of these tests was for iodine, and I almost filled that entire bottle with pee. I drink so much water. I pee so much. But yeah, for Christine, I think that can be totally normal. Totally normal. Jess, I eat mostly venison. I'm jealous. I would love that. My brother hunts. He actually uses my bow. I got a bow from him years ago, and then I got pregnant. And I haven't had the opportunity to learn how to hunt. I'd really like to. He has some land. But whenever he has kills a deer, we get some of that. Christine, Jenny, I would love it if you would do a video recap each day of the seminar. Yeah, I can totally do that. That's what I normally do. I think it's fun. I think I learn so much at these conferences. I really want to share it with you. Tammy, Jenny, your skin looks gorgeous and radiant. Thank you so much. Oh my God, I do so much So much skin stuff. So much skin stuff. On my second channel, Jenny Mitich, etc., I share some of the skincare treatments that I do. Do a lot, but thank you so much. I appreciate it. It's also carnivore is a lot to do with it. I back in the day, I've been on YouTube for like since 2020. My very first channel was called Adventures in Jennyland, and I did camping videos, camping and outdoor adventure videos. And if you go back and you look at some of those videos, I was also drinking often, probably every day, 1 or 2 drinks a day or something like that. And yeah, completely different. I'm 5 years younger, but I look older. It's interesting. It's crazy what healthy living does for you. Jen, you know what, Jen? I'm glad you're here because I hadn't heard from you in a while. I was like, where's Jen? I hope she's doing okay. Speaking of a DEXA scan, there are no machines in my area, and I doubt an out-of-network office will be covered. How do I find a place that has a machine that does everything, and what is the cost? So I go to, I don't know if I put this in the description. It's dexa.com/pages/locations. I will add that to the description of this live when I'm done. Put in your zip code and it'll tell you where the closest DEXA scan is. The type of DEXA scan that I'm getting done, which is a body composition scan. Conferences will have these, like Hack Your Health had, I think it was Body Spec was there, and they were doing mobile DEXA scans. So perhaps if you ever go to a conference or something like that, you can pick one up there. But yeah, I'll put that link. That's how I found mine, is just by putting in my zip code and getting that there. So I'm sorry, I'm just reading this comment that I can't put up on the screen. But $60, that's how much I pay for mine. Typically $75, but every 3 months, the place that I go has a flash sale and we get them for $60. So Joe says, how did the sardine fast go? Went really well. 14 days. This one was a little bit different. Let me take a sip of my coffee. I'm patched. So this one was a little bit different. So far, I've done 3-day, 4-day, 7-day, and 10-day sardine fasts. So this is the longest one I've done yet. And this time around, I did it a little bit different. So I threw in some different sardine recipes because I've had a lot of questions from people asking if you can eat, sardines different ways, if you just have to eat them out of the can or whatever. So I came up with 5 different sardine recipes, from just fried sardines in butter all the way up to these delicious sardine fish cakes. I'm putting together a whole recipe video for you guys of these 5 recipes of just ways you can kind of throw a different recipe in if you're doing a sardine fast. I also incorporated some other types of fish during this 14-day period because I've gotten that question too. Can you eat salmon? Can you do this with tuna? Can you do this with herring, mackerel, shrimp, whatever? So I threw in some shrimp, some herring. What else did I throw in? I think that was it. Shrimp, herring, and those recipes. Threw in a couple of different things. It's been interesting. Blood work, we'll see where I'm at. The arsenic test is going to be really interesting this time around and to see what that happens. But in general, yeah, it went really well. I would eventually like to do a 1-month sardine fast, but we'll see. We shall see. Terry, I think everyone should get into a gym and do a traditional bodybuilding program. This would be most beneficial for body fat percentage. Stop worrying about a certain body weight. I completely agree with you, Terry. I think strength training is one of the very best things you can be doing. Dr. Kiltz talks a lot about how, we're the only animal that exercises, that goes to a gym to exercise. A lot of people chronically exercise, chronic cardio, things like that. Walking, we've been doing that for millions of years. Lifting heavy things, that's how we survive. Sprinting, to kill an animal or things like that. That's, I think, what the basis of our exercise should be. So strength training, I totally agree with you. When I'm at the gym, I can't talk. When I'm at the gym, that's what I do. I do strength training. I lift heavy. Not so heavy I'm going to hurt myself, but heavy enough to where it's hard, to where I'm lifting to failure at the end of each set. And yeah, I totally agree with you. I also like the shifting of focus from a number on the scale to a body fat percentage. I've actually been shifting my mindset to do that as well. I'm shifting mine over to, I'd like to get my body fat percentage. Right now, my goal is to get it to 28%. I'm at 33.4. So that's my first goal. Whatever number that is the number it is on the scale. But that's kind of what we are working on. Will carnivore affect my hemochromatosis? I'm sorry, Susan. I do not know what that is. I will have to Google it because I cannot answer what I don't know. If anybody in the comments knows, though, please leave them in the comments. Jen, I'm sorry I've been away. I was deep in my ED, but I'm doing a little better. Well, good. I'm glad that you're back. I was wondering what was going on. I wanted to make sure you were all good. Guys, if you're watching this live stream and you have any carnivore-related questions, please leave them in the comment section and I will answer them. I do have some YouTube post questions to get to here in a moment, so please leave your comments. Any big wins you've had too, put those in. I'm here to help. Chrissy, does extreme weight loss on carnivore cause extreme saggy skin like some on GLP injections? My girlfriend is on GLP, but her skin is hanging. So the cool thing about carnivore is, yeah, some people lose weight drastically pretty quickly, but then it tends to kind of even out. One of the beautiful things about carnivore is it encourages autophagy and it helps your skin to tighten up on its own. Fasting is a really, really good way to encourage that as well. Now, that's not going to happen for everybody. Some people, they just will have the genetics where that happens. But I think the slow and steady weight loss and doing the fasting and allowing your body to, do it the way it was intended, I think can be a better solution. I never had any kind of sagging skin. I've lost 50 pounds and I don't have any. My husband, he's lost, let's see, started him at 275 and he was over 400 pounds way before we met, lost 130 pounds with carnivore. And now we've gotten him down into the 220s using a combination of fasting and carnivore. And it doesn't have any sagging skin right now. But yeah, I think a lot of people will say no, but then there's sometimes you just have so much weight to lose that there will be some. All right. Saggy skin is likely to happen if you have a lot of weight to lose it. Yep, exactly. It'll take autophagy to help. Yep. I know Kelly Hogan said she had some saggy skin for years and it eventually went away. Yeah, eventually. All of these things take time. I know for Laura Spath and her husband, they both had a lot of saggy skin left over and they ended up getting tummy tucks to remove it because they had lost a lot of weight. They had tried the fasting and the autophagy and it finally got to the point where they just got that done. And sometimes that's what you're going to have to do. We're all on our own individual journeys and you will figure out what works best for you. And there's no shame in getting that done at all. So that is that. All right, I'm going to head over to the questions from the posts here and then make sure to get your questions in here so I can answer them. The first question, favorite carnivore snacks to cut cravings? So for me, I don't really snack. I don't snack typically unless I'm on a road trip. But in the beginning of carnivore, I think snacking is totally fine to get over those cravings. Hard-boiled eggs, beef jerky, lunch meat. Carnivore snacks are really good. Carnivore bars are really good. They're a bit pricey, but they're good. What else would I snack on? Leftover steak. I love cold steak. Oh my gosh, it's so, so good. Let me know, everyone that's watching this, what are your favorite carnivore snacks to cut cravings for Bobby Fisher 0000 here on YouTube. All right, next question from the post. Tips, tricks, and suggestions for how to stay on track when starting carnivore. Is it better to meal plan, maybe 3 or 4 dishes, and rotate between them instead for more variety over the week? Would it be better to start off with more flavors, seasonings, and spices, and then eventually dial everything? I think any of those would be fine. You got to figure out what works best for you. The way I did it, I just ate steak, ground beef, eggs, bacon, and sausage. A few pork chops. I did chicken wings a couple of times. you really just got to give your body time to get used to carnivore in the first place. I think a meal plan can be valuable, especially if you like a little bit of variety in your diet. If you want a free 2-week meal plan from me, hold on. Let me go over here and get this comment off the screen here. If you want a free 2-week meal plan, you can head over to either Instagram or TikTok and send me a message over there. And I will send you a free grocery list and a free meal plan. That will give you a little bit more variety in getting started. I like your idea of meal prepping. I think that's a good idea. I always think people should have a few items ready to go when they first start carnivore. Make sure you go grocery shopping beforehand, have some carnivore foods around, boil a dozen eggs, have some hard-boiled eggs around, do a pot roast, have some a couple of steaks ready to go or whatever, just having them around is helpful. The longer you're on carnivore, the more you're going to figure out what works best for you and your schedule and your lifestyle. And then as far as the seasonings go, it depends on why you're coming to carnivore in the first place. If you're coming to carnivore because you are really sick, like rheumatoid arthritis, Crohn's disease, something that's like debilitating, I think it's a good idea to start as strict as possible and allow your body some time to heal, and then you can reintroduce spices. But not everybody's coming to carnivore, because of that. For me, I came to carnivore to lose weight. That was the first thing that I wanted to do. And then the metabolic health improvements have just followed, So for me, I cut spices the first month or two, and then I reintroduced them. And now I use garlic powder, onion powder, smoked paprika, Italian seasoning once in a blue moon if I'm doing some kind of like pizza related thing. Obviously salt, everyone can use salt all the time. And white pepper. White pepper is really low oxalate. So that's why I use that. And I'll use those whenever. And it doesn't affect me. That doesn't take away your carnivore card if you're using some spices, guys. Many long-term carnivores use spices. So this poster's comment, would it be better to start off with more flavor, seasoning, and spices and then eventually dial down to just salt? Maybe. Or you could start with just salt and then, experiment with spices. Whatever is going to help you be consistent with the food is going to be what you want to do, because that's the goal. You know what I mean? Let's get back over to a few comments here on YouTube. And Target Prime Rib. I'm in the middle of a 3-day fast right now. So I've been fasting for 48 hours. Great. Those first 3 days are the hardest. The hardest. Susan, my body holds iron in my blood. Thank you for telling me what that is. I appreciate it. Ferritin is one of the markers. I have a phlebotomy every 4 months at this time. So perhaps carnivore could help with that. So my husband, he holds on to ferritin, to iron as well. So he donates blood every 2 months, whole blood every 2 months. And that's been lowering it. We took him from his ferritin was like 1,100 down to 600 this last time. And then we just got his blood work yesterday. So and he donated blood a week ago. So we're going to see how much lower that is. Some people just naturally hold on to iron in their blood. And yeah, I don't know that carnivore would help with that. You're going to be eating a lot of meat that has a lot of iron in it. Have you been carnivore for any period of time, or are you doing research on it, would be my question. All right. Since the beginning of your carnivore journey, what do you think worked best to lower your visceral fat? So anytime you're losing weight, you're going to be losing a little bit of visceral fat. As far as targeting the visceral fat specifically, visceral fat is the body that's inside body. Visceral fat is the fat that's inside of your body around your organs, whereas subcutaneous fat is the fat that you can pinch on the outside of your body. Visceral fat is much more dangerous. You're not supposed to have, very much fat inside of your body. So I think the best way to target that was to just lower your fasting insulin, which just by eating carnivore, for most people, that's just naturally going to happen because your blood glucose levels will go down, your fasting insulin goes down, you're not creating all those glucose spikes all the time. So that, I think, was the best way. I started with 2.24 pounds of visceral fat. Let's see, I had that in September of 2022. That was a little less than a year after I'd given birth. I gained a ton of weight when I was pregnant. I was already a little bit overweight, and then I gained 70 pounds. So I think most of that came from that. And then now I'm at anywhere between 1/2 pound to 1 pound of visceral fat, which is ideal. That's what you want. My goal is to keep it 1/2 pound or less. And the way that I've done that is through carnivore, high fat carnivore, and fasting. Sardine fasting, the 10-day sardine fast got me down to 1/2 pound of visceral fat. That was pretty amazing. All right. Lady Casca eats butter when she is craving things. I have heard that from a lot of people. Sometimes when you're craving sugar, fruit, things like that, you're actually craving fat. That can be really helpful. All right. I found these butter balls at the grocery store if you feel weird about eating a stick of butter. Yeah, you could definitely do that. I make butter bites sometimes. That can be really helpful. Here's another snack, carnivore snack, pork rinds and brown schwager. Yeah, that's really, really good. I'm probably saying that wrong, but I love that. It's like a liverwurst, right? All right. Lady Casca is doing carnivore because of, oh, I'm going to butcher this, costrobitis. Oh my gosh. Because of that long word, severe chronic chest inflammation, high blood pressure. I was taking over 10 ibuprofens per day or more. Now I rarely take it. That's amazing. Great. I'm glad that you're feeling better. That is good. Chrissy, do I need to supplement on carnivore with zinc, fish oil, vitamin D, etc.? I like to base my supplementation on blood work. I don't like to supplement all willy-nilly. I do think most people will need to supplement with vitamin D. We simply live 95% of our houses. We live 95% of our lives inside, in houses, at work, in the car, shopping. We're almost always inside, and most people are not getting enough sunlight. So yeah, I think vitamin D is kind of a no-brainer. Fish oil, you just eat a couple of cans of sardines per week, or like a can of tuna, or some like tuna sashimi, whatever, some kind of seafood once or twice a week, and that'll take care of your omega-3s. I showed that pretty clearly in my couple of sardine videos. I'm actually going to be doing an experiment with this. I would like to see how long the positive benefits of sardines last. So I got an omega check yesterday to check my omega-3s. And now I'm not going to eat sardines again for a month. And then I'm going to retest my omega-3s and see just how long the positive effects of eating many cans of sardines lasts. I think 1 or 2 cans per week, you can get what you need there. Zinc, there's a lot of zinc in the meat you're going to be eating. You got to kind of figure out what your needs are and then supplement to those. So for me, for example, I take a methylated B complex every single day. Yes, I'm eating a ton of red meat, but I have an MTRR genetic mutation. There's MTHFR, MTRR, there's a few others. Basically, what this means is my body has a hard time methylating B vitamins. So if I do not give my body the methylated B vitamins in that form, it can't do all the other things it needs to do. So about 40% of the population has one of these genetic mutations and therefore need to supplement with methylated B complex for the rest of their lives. It's just the way it is. That's not a deficiency of the carnivore diet. That's a genetic thing in my body that I have to deal with. So that's why I take that. I also have Hashimoto's hypothyroid. So there's certain supplements that I have to take in order to address that. Selenium. I take iodine. I take the B complex. I take so many different supplements for that particularly. Pregnenolone. I take that daily because my blood work indicated I was low in it. So you're going to figure out what works best for you. I don't think taking supplements is bad. I think they have a place. You just got to make sure you're getting ones that are high quality too. Third-party tested, not a ton of fillers, that kind of thing. What is the best way to break a 48-hour dry fast? Any different than breaking a water fast? That's a great question. I have zero experience with dry fasting. I was just talking to Dr. Lisa Wiedemann, the carnivore doctor at Carrie's benefit that we went to. And she's been experimenting with dry fasting and actually says it's so much easier than water fasting. I think 48 hours, it's really not that long of a time. So I would just, use normal carnivore foods. But I don't have any experience with that. So if anybody here has any experience with dry fasting, Please let Lewis know. All right, Susan. Just starting by cutting out sugar and eating beef, eggs, and bacon. Not totally carnivore yet. I have been eating bacon and cheese for snacks. Wonderful. Okay, great. So just starting out on carnivore. So you are tracking, obviously, because you go to the phlebotomist, every 4 months, you're tracking your ferritin, you're tracking your iron and all this kind of stuff. So I would say, just continue cutting out the sugar and, doing the meat-based thing. And then when you retest, you're going to see what the effect is. There are just some people that naturally have higher ferritin and accumulate it, and then they need to donate blood. That's the most effective way to rid yourself of it. I've heard strenuous exercise can also be helpful, but we've had a lot of success with just the donating blood. So, all right. Lady Casca takes D3 and K2 every day. Hi, Jenny. Is there anything on the carnivore menu that could trigger insulin response? Yeah, of course. So, okay, so when we're looking at a graph, you got carbohydrates. You're going to see a big spike in glucose. You're going to see a big spike in insulin to then dampen the effect of the glucose. For protein, it's a smaller spike. Same thing, smaller spike of insulin. For fat, there's still a little tiny spike, lower insulin response. So, yeah, I mean, if you ate a ton of protein, you could see an insulin response. You want insulin response. You just don't want it to be elevated for any longer than it needs to be. You know what I mean? Glucose and insulin aren't bad in and of themselves. It's just, we've been eating so much processed food and sugar and all that crap for so long that it's just, out of whack. So yeah, protein would be the one thing in a carnivore thing. Dairy. If you're eating a lot of dairy, liquid dairy, cheeses, that might. Everybody is different. So yeah, I think that is definitely possible. Can't wait to see what happens with your sardine study. Yeah, me too. It's going to be so fun. Hola. Hello. How are you? Janice made it to the live stream. Welcome. Good to see you. I will be traveling, so I'm going to take zinc plus C for immunity. I got a surprising candida attack. Guess my immunity was low. Is this a thing to happen? I freaked out a bit. You can still get sick on carnivore. I mean, there's still bacteria and viruses out there in the world. And, I've found personally, the longer that I've been on carnivore, the better my immune health. Definitely making sure that your vitamin D levels are at least above 30, but ideally above 60. That can really do wonders for immunity and things like that. But yeah, it just takes time. And I think the zinc plus C for immunity is good. Just make sure there's not any like sugar things in that, MCT, helpful for getting into keto faster. Doing intermittent fasting, 16/8. Still craving sugar, unfortunately, though. Yeah. My sugar cravings didn't go away until month 4. And, I've been on carnivore for over 2 years now, but I have had a couple of high carb cheat meals. And then that brings the sugar cravings back for a few days and then they go away again. It's going to be different for everyone. It's all about finding ways to deal with them, ways that are effective for you, that work, All right. Do you get meat aversion anymore? I'm 2.5 years in and having it for the first time. Wow. I struggled to eat enough in the first place, so this aversion is so tough. Been going on for almost a week. I have not gotten meat aversion since the 3rd and 4th week of carnivore. If you're getting it right now, I'm wondering if maybe there's something, your body's trying to tell you something. Something's going on where you're just like, ugh. The way I deal with meat aversions is just trying to find something else to eat. Maybe you could do like a meat soup, like a chicken soup or something like that, or something that's just a little bit different outside of what you're normally eating to try to get over that. But maybe you're getting sick. Maybe there's something going on. Your body's trying to tell you something. Faux show. I just started carnivore yesterday and I'm desperately craving a cold brew coffee, but I want the sweet cold brew. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Yeah, man. Welcome to sugar withdrawal. It's just as bad as drug withdrawals. It's real. It is a real thing. I mean, get yourself if you got to have the coffee, get the coffee, just don't get the sweet. Do something like that. Make sure you're eating enough food. My second day on carnivore was the hardest for me. But it wasn't because of the sugar cravings. It was because I felt like crap. Increase your electrolytes, increase your hydration, make sure you're eating enough food, and watch my sugar craving video. I just released a video on Sunday about how to deal with sugar cravings when you're starting carnivore. Great tips. Eating more fat, drinking some water. All right, get your comments in. I'm going to move back over to the posts to get those questions answered. Why can't I stick to it? So frustrating. I don't binge, but one cookie or one nut or one slice of bread, totally emotional eating, but I will keep trying. I do so well during the week, then the weekend comes. I live with non-carnivore family. I have to go turn off my furnace. Otherwise, it's going to be so low and so loud. Do. Okay. This can be hard, especially when you're living with non-carnivore folks and you have a lot of food in your house that is triggering. I think that trying to get rid of the food items that are most triggering to you, get those out of the house. Sometimes I've had one commenter say his wife has to lock up the food since she's not carnivore and not willing to get rid of the food, like lock and key. Some people have to do that. I think also approaching this lifestyle one day at a time. If you make it through the week and then all of a sudden you're to the weekend, that's kind of the best way to do it, I think. You also kind of need to get out of the mindset of like, oh, I'm going to eat this way forever. I can never have this so-and-so item again. Get yourself out of that mindset. We live in a world where we can access whatever we want to eat anytime. So just fully committing to 30 days on carnivore, doing it one day at a time, and then reaffirming that commitment every single day. And then when you get to the end of it, you can be like, you know what? I think I'm going to have a piece of pie or I'm going to do this, but allow yourself some time to get over that first. I think even if you're doing really well on the weekend and then you have a couple of little snacks doing well throughout the week and then you have a couple of little snacks on the weekend, as long as you're not like binging carby foods, you're still doing a lot for your metabolic health. And it's progress, not perfection. It took me a really, really long time to get to where I am today. Yeah, I've been carnivore for 2 years, but I started studying nutrition in like 2016. With Mark Sisson's books and learning about primal and paleo and keto and all that kind of stuff. I was learning about it, but I definitely wasn't living it. It takes time to change habits. We've ingrained these things into our brain. There's like deep rut marks in our brains of the habits that we do every single day, and changing those habits, forming new habits, takes a long time. So the fact that you're able to stick to carnivore during the week, and then you fall off during the weekend, but then you get right back on, you're strengthening yourself right now. At some point, you're going to get to where you can do it for 2 weeks straight, 3 weeks straight, 4 weeks straight. Don't beat yourself up about it. It's going to be okay for sure. Lady Casca, my kids make it really hard for me some days. They're 12 and 13. They always want mac and cheese or pizza. Yes, that can be difficult. Hello, good people. It's Esther from North Carolina. Hello, how are you? Have you ever had heart palpitations from carnivore or anything like that? What would you recommend with adjustments of those sort? Yeah, so I've never had them, but it's common in the beginning of carnivore. I just did a video where that was one of the things we discussed. Let me make sure I'm getting you the right video. It is in it's either in the what to expect your first month on carnivore video or the new carnivore questions video that I just released. That can be an electrolyte imbalance. Increasing your hydration and your electrolytes can be helpful. And then that tends to go away. If you're still having heart palpitations a few months in, adding some low sugar fruit or vegetables can be really helpful. And just doing keto most of the time, or ketovore. I have a community member that he has AFib, and whenever he goes strict carnivore, he gets flare-ups. But when he eats a couple of apples along with his meat, his AFib is fine. It doesn't affect him. So you just kind of have to figure out what works best for you. And watch those videos. Those videos have some more stuff in it. Hello, do you use iodine? I hear that's the only vitamin which we can't get from meat. Yes, I take iodine every single day. Well, 5 days a week. And iodine, yeah, you almost have to supplement it. It's a required nutrient, and it's not really, I mean, it used to be in like baked bread and things like that, but then they replaced it with bromide, which is terrible for you. Another halide, but that one is toxic. So yeah, I take iodine. I'm doing a whole video on my supplement routine. And if you go back, I have some videos on supplements where I talk about this. In my iodine video, I have an iodine testing video. I also talk about the type of iodine that I take and things like that. About the hair, most people don't lose hair on carnivore. I was losing hair because I had a thyroid condition. I thought it was telogen effluvium, but turns out I have Hashimoto's hypothyroid. So that's why I was losing hair. Very few people lose hair on carnivore. It can happen, though, with any kind of extreme diet change, weight loss, stressor, things like that. You can lose some hair. You are awesome, Jenny. Thank you for sharing your experiences and your YouTube videos. Very informative. Well, thank you for watching. I really appreciate that. I'm surprised when someone says he feels terrible on day 2 or have cravings. I'm on day 7 now. Even though I'm addicted to sugar, I just can't even think about eating something sweet. Yeah, everybody's going to have a different experience. You know, some people, the sugar cravings are real, and some people, none at all. It's interesting, and sometimes they'll affect you later. You just don't know. But that first week was quite easy for me. Just starting today, I felt a bit weaker, dehydrated. Yeah, make sure you're eating enough food. Make sure you're getting enough fat. And sometimes that's just going to be some keto flu stuff. Make sure you have your electrolytes. That is not, for fun. You really do need those in the beginning. All right, question. I'm a little fearful that 2 at-home A1C tests that I took came back stating that I had low hemoglobin and therefore it would not give me a reading. I looked it up and found it could be anemia. I have not tested the at-home A1Cs, so I can't help you with that. I don't even know what they read. I do have it on my list that I'm going to be purchasing a few different brands and testing those, but I don't know how they could show that. I would get a manual blood glucose meter and check your glucose that way. The Keto Mojo is the gold standard. I think I have a 15% off for a kit, a starter kit. I'll put that in the description. I think it's in the description. That's the best one. And I think you can get a starter kit for like $40. Otherwise, CGM. But yeah, I mean, it could be anemia too. You'd have to do kind of an iron reading to get that. Symptoms of low iodine, everyone is low in iodine for the most part. We just do not get any iodine in our food. It's not in our water. There's so many. Dr. Brownstein is a really good resource for iodine related things. Low thyroid, hypothyroid issues are related to a lack of iodine and an increase in toxic halides. Let's see who else is good with iodine. Dr. Barry has a few really. I got palpitations on day 38. I personally increased the electrolytes and it helped. Yes, for sure. Heart palpitations, that is the very first thing to try, electrolytes. It's typically, for most people, an electrolyte imbalance. Sometimes it could just be stress, though, and anxiety, too. That happens. That does happen sometimes. Is your Hashimoto's getting better since starting your supplement routine, etc.? Yeah, so I did a whole video on my Hashimoto's routine, and yeah, I am feeling a bit better. The supplements are really helpful. And then I've been taking a T3 medication. We've been adjusting the dosage. I get a full thyroid panel every like 6 to 8 weeks to try to see what adjustments we need to make. So we've been playing around with that. But I will say that my energy levels are better. I don't feel as wasted, tired every single day like I was. And yeah, I'm not 100% though, but it's going to take some time. Take some time for sure. All right, guys, we're getting down to the nitty gritty. Let me know your final questions in there, and I'm going to head back over to this post because we have a couple more questions from the post to answer. Bloop. Okay, we did that one. We did this one. We did this one. Carnivores' impact on liver and kidneys, long-term effects. Okay, so um, typically it's going to be improving your metabolic health. Meat is not bad for the kidneys. What's bad for the kidneys is high blood sugar, insulin resistance. And when you're on carnivore, for most people, your glucose levels normalize very quickly. Your inflammation goes down. A lot of the things that are impacting your liver and your kidneys, in addition to just insulin resistance and being, having really high blood sugar and inflammation, is visceral fat accumulation, fat accumulating where it's not supposed to, and that is related to insulin resistance as well. So typically, what you'll see on carnivore is improvements in your liver and kidney function. You can test your GGT. That is a liver function number. It's like an $8 test on ownyourlabs.com. You want that to be in the low single digits. If you do a comprehensive metabolic panel, that is a $10 test, I think, $8 or $10 test on ownyourlabs.com. Has the fasting glucose, but it also has your eGFR rate, which is a kidney filtration number. You want that to be above 59. I like to see that above 100. That just shows that your kidneys are working right. AST and ALT and a few other markers are in that very, very inexpensive panel. So get some baseline blood work and then, measure again in 3 to 6 months and see. But yeah, most of the time you're going to see improvements in your liver and kidney function. Okay, here's another question. I guess from eating, okay, so this person has a gout flare-up from eating meat. So it's not necessarily from eating meat. Okay, if you're susceptible to gout, one of the best things you can do is to stop eating ultra-processed foods, sugar, and things like that, because that is the root cause of the gout in the first place. But for a select few people, when you go cold turkey onto carnivore, you can see a gout flare-up. It's basically just you're no longer eating any of the foods that are, helping. Gout is a lot of like oxalate crystals and things like that. And when you're not eating any carbs anymore, your body is like, oh gosh, I can finally start to clear these out of my body. And you can have a flare up in your gout. A really, really good place to start here, if this is a problem for you, is to check out Dr. Boz's channel, B-O-Z. She has some excellent videos on gout and low carb diets. One thing you can do, this person asked if you could use tart cherry juice. Sure. I don't know how much sugar is in that. I think gradually reducing your carbs, like getting rid of all the processed stuff, the desserts, the pastas, the breads, obviously getting rid of all that first, but then reducing and going to meat, fruit, and vegetables, nuts, things like that. And then slowly reduce your carbohydrate count to allow your body time to kind of start clearing all of that stuff out of your body instead of just all at once. That can really help with gout flare-ups and kidney stone flare-ups. So if you're susceptible to anything like that, that is a good thing to do for sure. Here's a question. How many push-ups can you do with your children on your back? I have never tried. I have never, ever tried. I would probably hurt my back because they are each like 50 pounds. They're so tall. I'll have to try and then I'll let you know. What is the best argument against taking medication for high cholesterol? High cholesterol is good for you. I think there's a profound misunderstanding of what high cholesterol is. When I'm looking at a lipid panel, I look at triglycerides. I want that to be under 100. When I look at HDL cholesterol, I want that to be above 50. And then you do the triglyceride to HDL ratio. You want that to be a 2 or less. As long as those are good, you're good to go. LDL cholesterol, it can go up. It can go down. It can stay the same on a ketogenic diet. It depends on so many different factors. And there's some good research out there showing that it depends more on your BMI than it does your saturated fat intake. Lots of really good data to show that. Higher levels of LDL cholesterol have shown to be protective against cardiovascular disease. I think, there's a drug out there that lowers LDL cholesterol, and drug companies make billions of dollars, trillions of dollars selling it. So that's why, it's been demonized. What I'm more concerned about than cholesterol is high blood sugar, insulin resistance. That is a root cause issue to cardiovascular disease. So I just, best argument against taking medication for high cholesterol. Instead of taking medication for addressing cholesterol, I would instead eat a really low carb diet to normalize my blood glucose, lower my inflammation, and that stuff all takes care of itself in general. All right. Couple more questions and then we got to go because my kids are awake. My heart palpitations are at their worst when I include coffee in my diet. Yeah, that's totally normal. It's the caffeine. For that, I would just say just don't drink the coffee. And for Terry, electrolytes don't help. They make it worse. That can happen for some people for sure. But in general, they tend to help. But yeah, I would cut anything with caffeine or things like that. Chrissy would want to see an in-depth video on how you incorporate saunas or other treatments in your health journey. Yeah, I could totally do that. I do sauna, steam room, cold plunge, hot tub. I do a lot of stuff. I do a lot of different things because it's fun. Dr. Bright also said heart palpitations could be due to low thyroid. 100%. Yes, totally agree. Dr. Bright is awesome. 2 more questions from the post. Can I eat chicken, turkey, or pork, or is beef better? You can eat whatever meat works best for you. I think beef, a better fat profile, a lot of nutrients. But yeah, all those other meats are fine. And then the last question, how to gain weight on carnivore. Eat a lot of food. Eat a lot of food, eat a lot of fat. At some point, you'll be eating so much that you'll gain some weight for sure. You also want to make sure the weight that you're gaining is not just all fat. Strength training, incorporating strength training and working out, not chronic cardio or anything like that, but increasing your movement will make you hungrier and you'll eat more food. I can very easily eat like 3,500 calories or more in a day. It's very easy to do. I'm a big eater though. So that could be why. That's all my questions that I have today, guys. This was a great live stream. So I think next week we're going to have our regular live stream sometime during the week. And then when I'm at the conference, I will do nightly live streams so I can do a recap for you. Again, that conference is the Symposium for Metabolic Health in Boca. You can get tickets. Link in the description. Tickets are available until the day of, I think. I think you can pay at any time. You can also do a live stream. So if you're not available to come to that, you can live stream it. So much fun. Guys, I love talking to you. This was so much fun. And we're going to do this again soon. So with that, I will see you next time. Bye-bye.